Okay, mathematicians, we're going to be looking at fractions. If you hear a lot of noises in my house, it's because people are taking the carpet out in the attic, so please don't worry about it. So this is what we've been learning about with fractions so far. You have two numbers. One's the numerator, one's the denominator. The number up top is the numerator. That means how many pieces are we talking about? Or how many do we have? And the number on the bottom is how many total pieces are there? So it's been cut up into how many total pieces. So how many total pieces on the bottom? How many are we talking about up top? So if we're gonna compare fractions, say we're doing page number 2, and you've got to compare these fractions. So first of all, you want to color in the pieces and then do a greater than, less than, or equal sign. Remember the alligator likes to eat the bigger piece? So for this one, let's say we're talking about a half and an eighth, which is similar to your first problem. So to compare them, first of all, the holes have to be the same size, right? Like you can't compare half of a small pizza to any size of a large pizza. It just wouldn't really make sense because the holes wouldn't be the same. So for one thing, first of all, the holes have to be the same size. You've got to have the same size of pizzas if you're going to compare slices. So let's put this one in half first. So you just, boom, you cut it in half like that. So the bottom piece tells you, oh yeah, I've cut it into 2 pieces. Top piece tells you, oh yeah, and how many do I have, or how many am I talking about? One of the 2. So that's why it looks like that. 1/2 means you've got 1 of the 2 slices. 2 total, we're talking about 1 though, that's all we've got. Okay, now let's do this one, an eighth. A good way to do eighths is to first cut it in half, then cut it in half again the other way, which is fourths, and then do 2 more lines. So you cut each fourth into half. Like that. So how many pieces total? 8. How many are we talking about? Well, that's what that number means, 1. So we just color in 1 of them. And now it's pretty obvious by looking at the pieces. Oh yeah, that's way more pizza than that is, right? You get half of it there. Here you only get 1/8. So remember the alligator, if you think of it as like an alligator, he likes to eat the bigger piece. So what that means is the mouth goes towards a bigger piece. That's bigger. And you can really just probably do that one in your head because you know if you have the same amount of pieces, like, oh, either way of 1 piece. So if you have the same numerator, you look at the denominator to see how big the piece is. And the smaller the denominator is, the bigger the piece is, which doesn't totally make sense at first, but if you think about it, 1/2 means you cut it into 2 pieces if you got some big halves. Eighths, you cut it into 8 pieces, so they're way smaller. Or if you think about it, if you cut into 100 pieces, they'd be so tiny you could barely even hold a piece of pizza in your hand. So if you have the same numerator, you look at the denominator and you think about, well, how big are those pieces? Oh, well, I know for a fact a half is gigantic. It's like half of a pizza, whereas an eighth is kind of small, and a ninth's even smaller than that, and a tenth is even smaller than that. So that's how you do those kind of problems. The next one, they actually have the same denominator. So let's look at a problem like that. So let's look at a problem with the same denominator. That one, once you understand it, is actually easier. So let's say this one has 12ths, but let's say it's thirds. And this one is 3/3, and this one's 1/3. Okay, so first of all, we have to, how many pieces? 3, so we gotta cut into 3 even pieces. So these should be about even. We do the Mercedes-Benz sign, looks kind of like a peace sign. Okay, so this one, they've both been cut into thirds. This one, how many are we talking about? Oh, 1, it's just 1/3. So it's that much pizza. This one, how much are we talking about? 3/3, because it's 3 pieces. So you gotta color in all 3 of those. So I colored in 1, I colored in 2, and I colored in 3. Wait a minute, that's the entire pizza. So anytime they're both, anytime the number on the bottom is the same as the top, it means, yeah, you cut into 3 pieces, but you got the whole thing. 3/3 is 1. So which one's more? Well, if you're really hungry, if you're that hungry crocodile and you wanted to eat more pizza, would you rather have 3 pizzas, 3/3, which is also known as the entire pizza, or just 1/3? Well, you'd rather have 3/3, right? It's way more pizza. So 3/3 is more. So if the numbers on the bottom are the same, the denominator, it means they've been cut into the same amount of slices. And then you just look at the number on top and you say, oh, which one has more slices? Well, that one does, right? That's 3/3. This one's only 1/3. So today you'll be doing all of these, and you can do what I was talking about if they have the same denominator, notice which one has more slices, or if they have the same numerator, notice which slices are bigger. You can also just, if you're not ready to do it that way, just color in the pieces. So 1/2, 2/5, color in one of those halves and color in 2 of the fifths and just look at them and notice which one's more. And then make the hungry alligator eat the bigger one. There are probably going to be a few that are exactly the same size. We'll see. So that's your assignment today, page number 2. You can do it.